The Atharvaveda, hymn 9.5, 38 verses. Seize him and bring him hither. Let him travel for knowing to the regions of the pious, crossing in many a place the mighty darkness. Let the goat mount to the third heaven above us. I bring thee hither as a share for Indra, prince at this sacrifice, for him who worships, grasp firmly from behind all those who hate us. So let the sacrificer's men be sinless, wash from his feet all trace of evil doing, foreknowing with cleansed hooves, let him go upward, gazing on many a spot, crossing the darkness, let the goat mount to the third heaven above us, cut up this skin with the grey knife, dissector dividing joint from joint, and mangle nothing. Do him no injury, limb by limb arrange him, and send him up to the third cope of heaven. With verse upon the fire, I set the cauldron, pour in the water, lay him down within it, encompass him with fire. Ye immolators, cooked, let him reach the world, where dwell the righteous. Hence come thou forth, vexed by no pain or torment. Mount to the third heaven from the heated vessel. As fire, out of the fire hast thou arisen. Conquer and win this lucid world of splendor. The goat is Agni, light they call him, saying that living man must give him to the Brahman, given in this world by a devout believer. The goat dispels and drives afar the darkness. Let the Panchadana goat about to visit 3 lights pass away in 5 divisions. Go midst this pious who have paid their worship, and parted dwell on the third cope of heaven. Rise to that world, O goat, where dwell the righteous. Pass like a sarabha, veiled all difficult places. The goat, Panchadana, given to a Brahman, shall with all fullness satisfy the giver. The goat, Panchadana, given to a Brahman, sets the bestower on the pitch of heaven, in the third vault, third sky, third ridge. One only cow, omniform art thou, that yields all wishes. That is the third light that is yours, ye fathers. He gives the goat, Panchadana, to the Brahman, given in this world by the devout believer. The goat dispels and drives afar the darkness, seeking the world of good men who have worshipped. He gives the goat, Panchadana, to the Brahman. Win thou this world as thy complete possession. Auspicious unto us be he accepted. Truly, the goat sprang from the glow of Agni, inspired a sage with all a sage's power. Sacrifice filled full, offered with Vishat. This let the gods arranged at proper seasons. Home-woven raiment let him give, and gold is guerdon to the priests. So he obtains completely all celestial and terrestrial worlds. Near to thee, goat, approach these streams of Soma, divine distilling meath, bedecked with butter. Stay thou the earth and sky, and affix them firmly up on the 7-rayed pitch and height of heaven. Unborn art thou, O goat, to heaven thou goest. Through thee, Angarasas knew that radiant region. So may I know that holy world. Convey our sacrifice to heaven, that it may reach the gods with that, whereby thou, Agni, bearest wealth in thousands, and all precious things. The goat, Panchandana, when cooked, transporteth, repelling Rete, to the world of Svarga. By him may we win worlds which Surya brightens. The droppings of the Odanas, attending the goat, which I have lodged with priest or people. May all this know us in the world of virtue, O Agni, at the meeting of the pathways. This unborn cleft apart in the beginning. His breast became the earth, his back was heaven. His middle was the air, his sides the regions. The hollows of his belly formed both oceans. His eyes were truth and right. The whole together was truth. Viraj his head, and faith his breathing. This goat, Panchandana, was indeed a sacrifice, unlimited. A boundless sacrifice he performs. He wins himself a boundless world. Who gives the goat, Panchandana, illumined with a priestly fee. Let him not break the victim's bones. Let him not suck the marrow out. Let the man taking him entire here, even here deposit him. This, even this, is his true form. The man uniteth him therewith. Food, greatness, strength he bringeth him. Who giveth the goat, Panchandana, illumined with guerdon, the 5 gold pieces, and the 5 new garments, and the 5 milch kine yield him all his wishes. Who gives the goat, Panchandana, illumined with a priestly fee, the 5 gold pieces, area light, to light him. Robes become armor to defend his body. He winneth Svarga as his home. Who giveth the goat, Panchandana, illumined with bounty, when she who hath been wedded finds a second husband afterward. The twain shall not be parted if they give the goat, Panchandana. One world with the rewedded wife becomes the second husband's home. Who gives the goat, Panchandana, illumined with the priestly fee. They who have given a cow, who drops a calf each season, are an ox, a coverlet, a robe, or gold. Go to the loftiest sphere of heaven. Himself, the father and the son, the grandson and the father's sire, mother, wife, her who bore his babes, all the beloved ones I call, the man who knows the season named the scorching, the goat, his hated rival's fame. Who gives the goat Panchadama, illumined with the priestly fee, the man who knows the season called the working, takes to himself the active fame, his hated rival's active fame. The goat Panchadamna is this working season. He lives himself, etc. The man who knows the season called the meeting takes him. Self the gathering fame, his hated rivals gathering fame. The goat Panchadana is the meeting season. The man who knows the called the swelling takes to himself the swelling fame, his hated rivals swelling fame. The goat Panchadana is this swelling season. He lives himself, etc. The man who knows the season called the rising takes to himself the rising fame, his hated rivals rising fame. The goat Panchadana in this rising season. The man who knows this season is called surpassing, takes to himself the conquering fame, his hated rivals conquering fame. The goat Panchadana is the conquering season. He lives himself, he verily burns up his hated rival's fame. Who gives the goat Panchadana, illumined with the priestly fee, he cooks the goat and the 5 boiled rice messes. May the united quarters, all accordant, and intermediate points accept him from thee. May these preserve him for thee. Here I offer to these the molten butter as oblation. And I think perhaps there are some hidden mystical techniques in this, because one of the states that can happen is you're taken apart and you're scraped and cut up and stuff, but you're not really hurt or mingled of wrong. And he lives himself, all those etceteras. He verily burns up his hated rival's fame, who gives the goat Panchaldana illumined with the priestly fee. Okay. Yeah, it might be best just to have left that in, because that's well, I mean, it's part of the formula, but you know what I mean. Hymn 9:6. 62 verses. Whoso will know prayer with immediate knowledge, whose members are the stuff, whose spine the verse is, whose hairs are psalms, whose heart is called the gut juice, whose coverlet is verily oblation. Verily, when a host looks at his guests, he looks at the place of sacrifice to the gods, light beings. When he salutes them reverently, he undergoes preparation for religious ceremony. When he calls for water, he solemnly brings sacrificial water. The water that is solemnly brought at a sacrifice is the same water, the libation which they bring, the sacrificial victim, dedicated to Agna and Soma, which is tied to the post, that verily is this man. When they arrange dwelling rooms, they arrange the sacred chamber and shed for housing the Soma cars. What they spread upon the floor is just sacrificial grass. With the couch that the men bring, he wins for himself the world of Svarga. The pillow coverings that they bring are the green sticks that surround the sacrificial altar. The ointment that they bring for injunction is just clarified butter, liquid. The food they bring before the general distribution represents the 2 sacrificial cakes of rice meal. When they call the man who prepares food, they summon the preparer of oblation. The grains of rice and barley that are selected are just filaments of the Soma plant. The pestle and the mortar are really the stones of the Soma press. The winnowing basket is the filter. The chaff, the Soma dregs. The water, the pressing gear. Spoon, ladle, fork, stirring prong are the wooden Soma tubs. The earthen cooking pots are the mortar-shaped Soma vessels. This earth is just. The black antelope skin are the host acts in this way to a Yajamana's Brahman. When he looks at the furniture and utensils, he says, more here, Tiet, more here. When he says, bring out more, he lengthens his life thereby. He brings oblations, he makes the men sit down. As the guest of the seated company, he himself offers up sacrifice. With ladle, with hand, in life, at the sacrificial post, with cry of ladle, with exclamation of Vashat. Now, these guests as priests, beloved or not beloved, bring one to the world of Svarga. He who hath this knowledge should not eat hating, should not eat the food of one who hates him, nor of one who is doubtful, nor of one who is undecided. This man whose food they eat hath all his wickedness blotted out. All that man's sin whose food they do not eat remains unblotted out. The man who supplies food hath always pressing stones, adjusted, a wet soma filter, well-prepared religious rites, and mental power to complete the arranged sacrifice. The arranged sacrifice of the man who offers food is a sacrifice to Prajapata. The man who offers food follows the steps of Prajapata. The fire of the guests is the Ahavaniya. The fire in the dwelling is the Grahapatya. That whereon they cook food is the southern sacrificial fire. Now that man who eats before the guest eats up the sacrifice and the merit of the house. He devours the milk and the sap, and the vigor and prosperity, and the progeny and the cattle, and the fame and the reputation. The man who eats before the guest eats up the glory and the understanding of the house. The man should not eat before the guest who is a Brahmin versed in holy lore. When the guest hath eaten, he should eat. This is the rule for the animation of the sacrifice and the preservation of its continuity. Now, the sweetest portion, the produce of the cow, milk or flesh, that verily he should not eat. The man who having this knowledge pours out milk and offers it, wins for himself as much thereby as he gains by the performance of a very successful Agnishtoma sacrifice. The man who, having this knowledge, pours out clarified butter and offers it, wins for himself thereby as much as he gains by the performance of a very successful Atharvaveda, thereby as much as he gains by the performance of a very successful Satrasadya sacrifice. He who having this knowledge besprinkles flesh and offers it, wins for himself thereby as much as he gains by the performance of a very successful 12-day sacrifice. The man who having this knowledge pours out water and offers it, obtains a resting place for the procreation of living beings and becomes dear to living beings. Even the man who having this knowledge pours out water and offers it, for him the dawn murmurs, and Savitar sings the prelude. Brahaspata chants with vigor, and Tabashtar joins in with increase. The Visvadevas take up conclusion. He who hath this knowledge is the abiding place of welfare, of progeny, and of cattle. For him the rising sun murmurs, and early morning sings the prelude. Noon chants the psalm. Afternoon joins in. The setting sun takes up the conclusion. He who hath this knowledge is the abiding place of welfare, of progeny, and of cattle. For him the rain cloud murmurs when present, sings the prelude when thundering, joins in when lightning, chants the psalm when raining, and takes up the conclusion when it stays the downpour. He who hath this knowledge is the abiding place of welfare, of progeny, and of cattle. He looks at the guest, he utters a gentle sound, he speaks, he signs the prelude, he calls for water, he chants the psalm, he offers the residue of the sacrifice, he takes up the conclusion. When he summons the doorkeeper, he gives instruction. He, the doorkeeper, pronounces the sacrificial formula in his answer to what he hears. When the attendants with vessels in their hands, foremost, the hindmost, come in, they are just the priests who manage the soma cups. Not one of them is incompetent to sacrifice, or if the host, having offered food to his guests, goes up to the house, he virtually enters the bath of purification. When he distributes food, he distributes priestly fees. What he performs, he acts as favor. He, having been invited on earth, regales invited in that which wears all various forms on earth. He, having been invited in air, regales invited in that which wears all various forms in air. He who having been invited in the sky, regales invited in that which wears all forms in the sky. He having been invited among the gods, regales invited in that which wears all various forms among the gods. He having been invited in the worlds, regales invited in that which wears all various forms in the worlds. He having been invited hath been invited. He gains the world and the world yonder. He who hath this knowledge wins the luminous spheres. Now, certainly sacrifices, the material things of them, cost money. But as a rule, rituals and temples and stuff like this should be open to all classes of people who are ready to engage in the ethic of it. And there are certain formulas, even outside of group ritual or particular place ritual, but some hymns are better for the early afternoon, some hymns are better for the late afternoon, some hymns are better for the and that was one of the things, is what is the difference between psalms and verses and hymns and religious songs, ceremonies? Where do we draw the difference?